This is Jordan Tower with JT News. Make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. Okay, so let's get right into the news. So Southwest T, he gets a pardon from Biden, but not Big Meech. And I find this a little bit funny because Big Meech was pretty insulated, right? I mean, he was loud, right? Like, you know, with billboards and everything else. But Southwest T really cooked them in another way. He was talking on those phones a lot, and that enabled the cops to be able to intercept certain loads that came in, and it gave them a lot more evidence for their charges against the two brothers and a bunch of other people. Now, they did have some snitches in the organization on Big Meech's side, which didn't help either. But Southwest Terry, he was between the two brothers. The most sloppy one was Southwest T. See, Big Meech was getting rid of a lot of the load, and I don't know. It just seems like Southwest T really added a lot of spice on getting them deeper convictions, like laying out operations and even showing that there was issues within the family. But, you know, on Big Meech's side, hiring the wrong people, getting the wrong people down with everything. And when those two, I forget the two guys' names, but there were two guys that were caught in a car moving drugs around. And they ended up telling on, I think it was Doc. They told on Doc. And then something led to Doc being raided. And they found his ledgers. He wrote everything down. That was a big one too. And it matched, I guess, Terry's ledger. It was just, bro. You know, that's why these things never work, because there's always going to be too many loose links. And if you're not a cold-blooded killer where you're able to take out those loose links, the whole industry, the whole thing will come down at one point. You know, that's why you always see it, movies and documentaries and everything. It's always like a couple weak links that bring down the whole operation, because they just point to one. It's like a domino effect, points to one person to the next person to the next person. So Southwest T says, now it's official. Real Big Meech mom, understand you were excited. So last week you let the cat out the bag. It's been a big journey, but prayer and unwavering faith beyond mere human comprehension got us to this point. Never once acted in my own ability, nor doing anything to anyone to help myself. So the gloves are off, the gag orders are up, and all the naysayers have to suck up. I hope that, I wish that his brother would get it too, because then they could do a lot more positive things with their story. Now, next I'm going to play the downfall of BMF and how the rift between the two led to the downfall. Let's get into that right now. There's a guy named Dexter Sosa. Now, this is a guy who used to work. Dexter Sosa he just dropped a book called Black Mafia Family. And I've read through it a little bit. It's the blueprint to conspiracy, it says. Now, Big Meech's brother's out, Southwest T. Big Meech is not out yet. They're still possible, but they denied the first one, but it's not totally denied yet. So he was talking about a lot of things, and one thing that he said really broke the family up was Southwest T and Big Meech competition with each other. And at one point they got into a big argument when they went down to Mexico. They remember Jeezy talks about a time where Big Meech rented a 747 and flew like 200 people down to Mexico, 200 or 300 people, and paid for a whole hotel, and you know they did it big. After that trip, supposedly Southwest T had his crew and Big Meech had his crew in Atlanta, and Southwest T was in California. And as we know, that split, even though they were still working together, kind of brought down the whole thing. I mean, you know, you had Big Meech running a record label over here. Dexter details that they had politicians and agents in Atlanta on payroll
to get information. And I always thought that, because whenever you see the Smack DVDs with them in it, I'm like, yo, there's a lot of like white people, like politician type people in these DVDs. I'm like, these guys are like living a movie right here. Like, they actually got people on payroll. But I also knew that it was probably coming to an end, because Big Meech was more flashy, so he probably knew he was being investigated from the people he had working in there. So Southwest T, it's also known that he spoke a lot on the phone, and that's another thing that helped bring them down, unfortunately. It's just crazy how much they were able to do and be so organized. That's always amazing to me. But it's just, so like if Big Meech gets out, like, yeah, he did crimes and everything, but people look up to him in a lot of neighborhoods, and he could do a lot of good and talk to people about, because it's like, it's not, when you do the math, doing 20 years, 25 years isn't worth all the money you made the, prior 15 years. It's never worth it when you do the math on it. It's better to just to have a regular job. It's not as fun, but it's not fun being locked up either, so I'm sure he has a lot to share with people. Southwest T, he's been kind of quiet since he's been back, and I know that he's going to be working with 50 Cent on the BMF story. I wonder if Dexter Sosa is going to be involved after releasing this book. I don't know, I don't know if he has. He was there from ground up before they were even called BMF. They were called 50 Boys, he says. Interesting book, and I'm sure this book will be used to kind of develop the whole series that 50 Cent's working on. And imagine if they never split up. Would they have gone under the radar? I don't know. There was a lot of factors that brought them down. It just takes a few slip-ups and a few agents to get curious, I guess. It's like a real movie, the way these guys were living, except more flashy. In the last 3 years before Big Meech got picked up, he was super flashy. I think he was trying to make a move. Yeah, well, he was trying to make a move into the music industry. That's why you saw him with Jeezy. He had a lot to do with Jeezy's beginning, but then, his artists, he had a few artists under his label, like Blue Da Vinci and a bunch of other people. Anyways, what do you guys think about this? Are you guys looking forward to the series? And chime in below on the whole BMF thing. How do you guys feel about BMF, Big Meech, Southwest T? This guy releasing a book called Dexter. They used to work with them. This is Jordan Tower with JT News, and I'll check you guys in the next one.